Hey, Drew. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very good. So, quick introductions. I'm Cameron. I'm one of the partners with Emberly Digital. We do a lot of marketing and development, so web development, software sales, funnels, all that sort of thing. Drew, you work very much on the marketing side of Emberly. Tell me about what you do.
Project manager for the marketing department, but our marketing department does a lot. We do everything from paid ads to email campaigns, social media, you name it, we'll help you out. We are really just kind of those one-stop shop marketing agencies because digital marketing is one of those ones where you really do need to have an adjustable strategy as time goes on.
Yeah. So what I think would be really helpful for people, because I talk to people all day, every day, who don't know anything about digital marketing. And these are oftentimes really smart people. Sometimes they're like developers who know multiple programming languages. I mean, they're people who are like really successful in their niche of business.
Right.
And they just literally don't even know what the different types of marketing options are and what to go after. So I thought it would be helpful to talk today about like what types of marketing can you actually do. So let me just ask you questions about these and have you walk me through each of these different types of marketing for the benefit of the audience, and hopefully they'll get some value out of this. Okay, so we'll talk about a few different types of marketing. Let's talk about PPC ads with search, like Google.
Yep.
Then let's talk about social media. So ads on Facebook, ads on Instagram. Let's talk about SEO, so search engine optimization, more organic. And then let's talk about email campaigns. And then we can kind of talk about how that all blends together. First off, tell me about Google search ads. How does that work? What's it like?
Most people, when they think of pay-per-click ads, they think of search ads. So basically, anytime you search a specific keyword, you'll see the sponsored results pop up. Usually, there's 1 to 3 positions at the top of the page. Those people are paying there to have their ads shown based off of the search query that you entered. So maybe you're looking for a local baker for Valentine's Day coming up and you want to get some heart cookies made. So you'd search baker, and we're located in Grand Rapids, so like baker in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The bakeries around the area know that you're searching for their services. They'll pay for those specific key terms, and that'll cause those ads to appear where they do. One thing that's important to know is that Google is definitely shifting, and also Bing, their search results page layout. So what used to be really obvious as a sponsored result, because they were very clear with labeling it at the top as a sponsored result, is now starting to look a lot like organic results. So now instead of maybe 1 to 2 at the top, they're pushing 3, sometimes 5, and then hiding the sponsored results at the bottom so you don't see it's a sponsored result until you scroll down. But a lot of times people aren't aware of that. So yeah, they've shifted that around, but those are going to be where the initial ones pop up. And then usually below that, again, if you're looking for local company, is going to be your map listings.
So basically, if I get on Google, I type in baker near me or baker Grand Rapids, Michigan, or whatever. I get a few sponsored results generally, and then I'll get like the maps, and then I'll get like organic results, right?
Yep.
Which are like, they're not paying for the spot. They're just ranked by the best to least underneath that. And a lot of people are going to see those sponsored ads and they'll just skip over them, and they'll either go to the map results or they will click on the organic listings because they just don't want to click on the sponsored ads. But a lot of people do click on the sponsored ads, whether that's a choice or they just don't know any better. And what you're talking about with the layout shift is Google and other search engines, but Google is obviously still the dominant one at this moment. They are shifting things around so that you're getting not just sponsored ads at the top, but also some kind of sprinkled in throughout, so that, you know, people may accidentally click on that. And that might be good for you as a business, because it might mean that, you know, hey, people who didn't realize your link was sponsored have now clicked on your link. But it might also be bad because they might click on it and go, whoops, I clicked on a sponsored link, and then close it and click on an organic result, and you're paying per click. How much does a click cost? Because it's industry dependent. And
it is.
And what does it depend on? How does it work?
One that's just like well-known in digital marketing is if you're a lawyer, you have a high cost per click. It's a very aggressive market, and it's worth maybe $20, $30 a click. That's just a number to use as an example.
Sure.
But if you're looking for like a home services business, the cost per click is going to fluctuate based on the season. So since we're in Grand Rapids, Michigan, 3-4 months, spring to summer, we're very comfortable. People aren't running their systems. You go into fall season, September through maybe end of October. It's a long time where you're not using your system. So if you're running paid ads for home service business during those shoulder seasons, we like to call them, it is going to be less cost per click because there's just less demand. If it's the middle of summer, it's a heat wave, and it's an elderly couple that needs their AC unit either repaired or installed, your cost per click is going to go up because the intent and also just the need for the service goes up as well. And it's the same thing when you enter into winter season. So cost per click, fluctuations of budget, it really, really is dependent on not only your industry, but also too where you are located demographically.
Right. Yeah. And so basically when you are setting up your Google search ads, you are going to set a monthly budget. Like, let's say I'm going to set $500 a month, or I'm going to set $1,000 a month. And people set all sorts of different budgets. People set $200 a month. People set $20,000 a month. So it just depends on, how many clicks you want to get, but then you're paying per click within the parameters that you set up. So like, what parameters can you set up, and what should you be looking for with that?
A lot of HVAC companies, they'll offer plumbing, electrical, all in one. Maybe you're a small mom and pop shop style company and you only offer HVAC. Well, you could put in negative keywords for plumbing, electricians, services you don't offer, so then you don't accidentally appear on the search results, because Google bases the keywords off of a couple different parameters. You can either have your exact match, so if you search that exact phrase, that's the only time your ads will pop up. You have phrase match, which has a little more leeway, and then broad match. So if you have a tight budget, you really want to make sure, one, you build out your negative keyword list, but then also when you're going towards the actual keywords you want to target, be very specific about the match type, and then also paying attention to just really your budget.
And so with negative keywords, so I'll give you an example. So have a client who sells rope. They sell a lot of manila rope. Manila is a great keyword, but a lot of people searching for manila are actually searching for Manila, which I believe is an island. So we have to, add a bunch of negative keywords for geographical or vacation or boats. Boats you might be looking for a rope for your boat, but if you're looking for a boat, you might be looking to go vacation or something like that. So
yeah, and I think one good example of that is one of our companies. They do AV services, but they don't do weddings. If they didn't have that as a negative keyword, their ads will pop up. We're just going to be burning through budget.
Okay, so let's move to, so that's like Google search ads.
Yep.
And I say Google, it's just really any search ads, but obviously Google is just a dominant player. So that's very much an experience of, the customer is actively searching for something. And in the process of them searching for something, you're able to show your result. Moving to social media. So ads that you show on Instagram, ads that you show on Facebook, ads that you show on other platforms like LinkedIn or whatever. Those I would call more like interruptive advertising, right? Yeah. Where you're like scrolling through the feed and you're sort of getting interrupted.
Right.
And that can be really good for a product that people need to be educated on. So when you're building awareness or you're creating a new product that's innovative or whatever, interruptive marketing can be really good, but it's also useful for retargeting. So talk me through how like that works with pay-per-click ads for social media.
We had one customer that came to us to help them with our product launch that they had. It was an accessory for Jeep vehicles. Yeah. So since it was brand new idea, people didn't know search terms or that it was even an option. Your search ads were not going to be our best option.
Right.
So in a situation like that, we look to Meta because there's a massive Jeep community on Meta. They love their pages. They love their groups. They love their forums, all of that. We really started to use Meta and social ads to bring awareness of not only what the product was, how to use it, the cost, the different types of models with the Jeeps it's compatible with. And then once the product did launch, we then started switching over into the pay-per-click ads because now people understood who we were, what it was. They recognized the name.
When you say Meta too, like for anybody who doesn't know, Meta is the like parent company or whatever, like Alphabet with Google, but it's the parent company that owns Facebook and Instagram. For those of us who are in digital marketing, we say Meta all the time because we're working through like all the Meta tool set so that we can advertise on both Facebook and Instagram. But generally we mean Facebook and Instagram.
Exactly.
When we say that. Yeah.
Yep.
So talk me through how the difference between, because this is a question I get all the time. The difference between platforms. So advertising on Facebook and Instagram versus advertising on LinkedIn. Let's say you're a B2B business. Walk me through that.
So LinkedIn's one of those tricky ones. Since it is not so much necessarily like a social platform where people are actively telling the platform like Meta or LinkedIn what their interests are. It's more of you're trying to make connections, you're trying to showcase your business. So in an instance like that, we'll probably go more towards an email targeting campaign. There's different platforms out there that will pull data from LinkedIn and then create you different profiles for you can target based off of not only maybe their specific job title, maybe their position within the company, then you can start to target based off of those parameters.
So I would say real quick with LinkedIn, like my experience of that is there's often a misconception that LinkedIn is going to be better if you're trying to reach business people.
Right.
The business people are all doom scrolling on Facebook and on Instagram, and they have put a lot more of their information on those platforms. Yes. So no matter how businessy your business is, no matter how corporate your business is, you're almost always better off just getting some ads established on Facebook and Instagram. And then when you've sort of conquered that world and you have a good handle on it, then you got your net set up. Now go grab your fishing rod and go try to catch some more fish on LinkedIn, so to speak.
It's a good way to put it.
So secondarily, walk me through. A lot of people don't understand how Facebook and Instagram work together from an advertising perspective, and they think that you kind of have to pick one platform or the other. So walk me through that.
Basically, the ads dashboard within Meta, you can have them run on Instagram and Facebook. Some will appear on stories, some will appear organically in your feeds, some will appear in different locations. Just thinking about our company specifically, Instagram is definitely our most popular in terms of getting engagement, views, reaching a new audience.
Real quick before we move on to the next medium, pixel tracking. When you give someone a link, you are encoding a whole bunch of data in that link that tells your website how they got there. So you'll include the campaign that you sent it from. You'll include the medium. So you might say the medium was an email. You might say whatever. In the Facebook case, you might say like the medium was Facebook and the campaign was the Black Friday promotion. You enclose that in the link to send it along to the website so your website gets that data. And as a quick aside on like tracking, basically if you're just going to set up the very minimum, set up Google Tag Manager, which allows you to tag different tags and triggers on your website so that when people click things and interact with things and scroll on pages and things like that, you get data about that. Yep. Google Analytics, which is sort of your like overall analytics and engagement dashboard, and then Meta Pixel so that you can track Facebook and Instagram and do retargeting based on that. So let's go to SEO, so search engine optimization. So search engine optimization is basically the organic results on Google. It's not a mystery or an accident how you get higher on that, right? Like it's a pretty well-established science with a little bit of art. Tell me about how you get your page to rank higher on Google organically and what that actually means.
Before you start writing content, everything, I think it'd be good to work with a developer, someone's good on the technical side, to make sure your website is set up correctly so you don't just start building on a bad foundation. Once you get your foundation set up, you can really start to build off of it. And I think SEO has really become this thing where AI has not only frightened people, Google built the internet basically.
Yep.
They built the foundation for how it runs. They built for the foundation for how it's tracking. They gave the guidelines for how websites should be built. It really has been something that they've worked on for like over 20 years now. So ChatGPT is not going to come in here and create a whole new concept. They're going to build off of what Google's already using and polling. So I think that's very important to not get confused with like these AEO, GEO tactics, trying just to manipulate Reddit to get all these different platforms to say your company is the best and everyone should use them. You will get punished.
Yeah, and don't like buy backlinks.
No.
Don't like if somebody from overseas from like an SEO company.
Yeah,
right. If they email you and they're like, we can jump you to number one, like that's probably not a good idea. It's going to be a long-term play. So let's talk about what things actually contribute to a website's SEO, right?
Yep.
So I'll just list a few here. So a good technical foundation.
Yep.
So we're looking for like pages load fast, images are sized correctly. Like you've got theoretically like good metadata. You've got good hierarchical content structure. You don't have a lot of low content pages. Yep. Yeah. So like a good technical foundation is one thing. Backlinks. So other sites that are reputable that are linking to your site. That's what a backlink is. Incredibly important. Definitely content that content that is quality content that
Yep.
people engage with and read, that targets focus key phrases. So basically, like, what people are looking up, you have content about that, and it's good content that people engage with. I would say those are like the fundamental pillars of SEO, unless I'm like maybe forgetting something.
The UX and UI of the website,
Yeah,
that plays a huge role in it. But then obviously optimized for which device people are visiting the most on.
Yep.
A lot of big purchases people seem to like to make on laptops. So while if you're just kind of searching for something local or you can do it quickly, it's going to be on your phone. So there are those aspects to where that's going to change up your strategy a little bit, but really just trying to put yourself in the mindset of the user. Is it a good experience? And then like you said, on the technical side, is everything, tightened up and cleaned up? So when Google does, or the other search engines do crawl your website, they can easily rate it, recognize where the updates have been, and then process it accordingly.
Yeah, and SEO is definitely the long-term game. If you want to just start getting some hits and measuring ROI, your time to delivery is basically going to be like your social media ads are going to be the fastest. Then your search ads, maybe like a little longer time to deliver, especially if you don't have a lot built up as an audience or whatever. I mean, it's going to take you longer to get to the point where you're able to do search ads.
You can still turn them on in the same day, but
absolutely,
you're not going to be getting any valuable information within like the first 2-3 days usually.
Right. Yeah. And then now SEO is more like a 6-month long game or a 10-year game.
One example I'd like to use, and I've heard this a lot of times too in the industry, is like SEO is your marathon, PPC, your paid ads, or your sprint.
Totally.
If you want to get in good shape for summer, for you have a good beach body, you're not going to start in June, July and expect to have the physique you want by August. You're going to start in January, and you're going to start with the cores. You're going to get your routine down. You're going to get your diet squared away, and then you're going to figure out how to be in the gym.
Yeah. And just like Mr. Olympia or whatever, those titans, like Arnold and Chris Bumstead and all that, they're training for 10 years to build up to that. And that's exactly how SEO is. It's like, you might be the most authoritative site, but you may have worked on that for 10 years. So it's a long-term game. So let's move to email campaigns. Big advantage of it is it's a lot cheaper because you're not paying per click, you're not paying per open, all that sort of thing. Tell me real quick about how you get people on an email list.
Another customer we have is, they're based in Detroit. They're all about Detroit gear, Detroit sports, everything. And one of the big ways they always drummed up people to go onto their email campaign is they would give away Lions tickets or Tigers tickets.
Yeah, and you're trying to build a list of people that are legitimately interested, right?
Right.
In the things that you're interested in. So that's a perfect example where you have these like sports events in Detroit that people are generally enthusiastic about Detroit. If they go to that, your chances are pretty high.
Exactly.
So if you give that thing away, people are more likely to be the right type of person. You can buy a massive list of random people, and just spam email them. But the other thing you got to worry about with this is like deliverability. Talk to me a little bit about deliverability.
Really depends on your situation. If you're trying to transfer one audience from another, there's going to be a different strategy than just comparing to maybe you had an email campaign that was dead for a long time and you're trying to bring it back. That's another one where people can totally forget that they were even on your list, and then your unsubscribe rates, your spam rates just skyrocket because it's your first unsolicited email in a year and a half and they don't remember who you are.
Well, and I'll give an example of it. We have a very large client that has a really big email list that they've been curating over like 20 years, I think. And these are all really interested people. So that list is like gold. They are starting a new initiative, and like they have to, because of a lot of the stuff going on with licensing within their company, they have to transfer all these people over to be interested in a new brand. Now we can just move them onto a list and send out emails, but our chances of like losing all those people because we get reported as spam, people unsubscribe, we could get our domain like basically blacklisted by email service providers, and like we could be dead in the water with this entire new company initiative. And that could be a multi-million-dollar catastrophic mistake. So we are, I think, a rookie agency or, marketer or whatever is going to just like take that list and transfer it over and start sending emails,
Exactly.
But we are taking that email list and we're warming up the boxes. We're sending
Right.
small batches at a time. We're sending stuff that we know statistically people are going to open and click on and like giveaways. We can give stuff away.
Yeah. And the nice thing too, working at their example, is it's a similar audience.
Totally.
It's just a small difference in the name that they're used to.
Yep.
So like you're still getting the right audience you're targeting. But like you
Yes.
said, if people start seeing a different name, they're like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Well, and it's worth, like, in this case, we actually worked with like a legal team to talk about what the options are and stuff like that, and make sure we're in the clear, because this is a big thing. But, you know, it is worth noting that there are a lot of compliance, email compliance restrictions and things like that you do want to know about so you don't get in trouble. I haven't seen anybody get like sued or in trouble with the government or anything like that from sending email campaigns, but it's always possible, and you want to be like doing the right thing legally and also just ethically, you know.
Right.
I want to send emails to people who want to receive those emails and are interested in those products. You know, I will say 2 myths that I hear all the time. First off, people saying that email is like dead. People have been saying email is. I've been hearing people say that, oh, email is out now. It's blog.
Yep.
Like it's just going to keep going. People keep checking their email every day. Like it's a super antiquated platform. But guess what? That's where I get my work communication.
And outside the cost it takes to just like a team to put together the emails, it's free leads. It's free interested customers that you have in your ecosystem.
Well, Google changed their algorithm overnight, or Facebook can double their lead cost for your industry overnight.
Exactly.
And it happens all the time.
Yep.
And you can just be dead in the water because your whole business model was predicated on the math of that working. Whereas with email, it's yours. You're good to go. For as long as you can keep those people interested. And so that's really, truly your audience, a lot more so than like a platform. Right. So, I think the other myth that I see all the time with email is people are actually uncomfortable with sending out emails. So I would say I see 2 mistakes, right? I see really generic emails a lot where people are like, ooh, we're going to send out a monthly newsletter. Nobody cares about monthly newsletter, dated February 7 or whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
People care about interesting subject line, interesting content that makes sense to them, that has a clear call to action. And that's really all. Like, don't overdo the email. Don't put layers and layers and layers. Yeah. Yep. Get straight to the point. The other thing I would say is that you can send a lot more emails than you think before people start unsubscribing. It is shocking how many, in a lot of cases, you have to send to stay top of mind for someone.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, because they really, before they start going, oh, I need to start spamming this or moving you to the promotions folder, you can, of course, send too many, but I think most people feel sick to their stomach by the time they've sent enough that they are actually even keeping up.
In that case, if you are going to be ramping it up, just pay attention to your delivery rate, pay attention to your spam rate, see if there's any spikes in those submissions. And if there are, maybe that's your sign to let off the gas a little bit, or maybe change the messaging.
And in terms of getting people on your email list, there's kind of 2 ways you can do it. You can run a campaign in another place, right? Like have a you have to sign up for the email list to see pricing on the website, and you fill in your email and there you go. You typically do need to include something that like just notes that like, hey, this is how we're going to use your email, and here's the terms and conditions and stuff like that.
Right.
But or you can hit people up on social media and send them to a lead form where they fill out their email, or you can certainly buy an email list, or you can always partner with somebody who regularly sends out emails and say, can you advertise my thing? Okay, how much is that going to cost? You can buy a list, and in some cases that oftentimes isn't as good because you're not getting people who are organically signed up, so your unsubscribe rates are going to be worse. The other thing you can do is you can do cold audience emailing, and that's something that we'll do with like automated prospecting, where basically, we are using these curated lists to like hunt for prospects who match specific parameters.
Yeah.
And then we'll create a bunch of different Gmail boxes. So if you start getting a lot of emails about different service offerings from different Gmails and stuff like that, that's basically, marketing companies like us, which this works surprisingly well.
One case I can think of with one of our clients is they sell corporate furniture.
Yep.
So their email strategy is they get a list sent to them when people's leases are up, when companies' leases are up.
Yep.
So they have parameters set up for certain size companies with a certain run way before their lease is up. And then they reach out and they're not pushy about it, but they're like, we know your lease is coming up. Are you guys need of new office furniture, maybe a different layout? Offer to send over a free demo, 3D tours, something along those lines. So again, you're trying to be helpful, but not pushy, but also at the same time, you're speaking to someone who might need your services in a way where they can receive that on their own time without just being like, hey, here's this, buy this now.
Yes.
You're starting a genuine conversation. You're trying to solve an issue for them, and their cold email campaigns, for example, run great.
Let's talk real quick about like how all these things go together, right? Because a lot of times people are sort of like, what service do I need or whatever, right? And generally speaking, the marketing plan that is implemented is better than the marketing plan that's in the works, Right. So a small, even just like, okay, I set up some Facebook ads and I have a funnel on my homepage and then I have my sales guy call them. That's better than, trying to build a whole thing that never really gets off the ground. But like a lot of times a really comprehensive strategy is going to have all these things looped in together. In a comprehensive marketing plan, you're actually going to feed all of these services into each other, right? So you keep moving people through this like digital marketing ecosystem and you stay top of mind.
Yep.
Give me an example of how that works in a campaign that runs across all these different channels.
So going back to the Jeep example that I was talking about earlier. So after we built up the brand recognition, the awareness on Facebook, we switched over and really started to target the people we have hit maybe once or twice. And then when people go over and maybe want to search the product in Google, then again, our paid ads are supporting those efforts. We really use our email to send out the promotions, the big heads up, the end of the year specials, your Black Fridays. Yeah. We do it ahead of time so people get heads up, because especially if you have a more expensive product, people can't drop it like they can buy a t-shirt just out of the blue. It might take them some time to save up. So meta ads is where we see our best return on investment, our best return on spends. Like, we're in probably well over 1,000% return on investment because it's just such a niche market and the product price is where it allows for those type of numbers.
Yep.
But on the flip side, we haven't been seeing the best opportunities on your classic search ads.
Totally.
So we've adjusted budget there, trimmed that down, brought it back over to Meta, and then also put some extra efforts into our email marketing.
And I can't stress enough, like, you need lead time for this stuff, right? Like, if you're going to advertise for Black Friday, don't start the month of, don't start the month before or the week before or whatever. That's not a good time to start planning, especially with like, even with higher price point products, you're going to end up with situations where people are not making an impulse buy. They're going, oh, I'll buy that when I get my next paycheck. And then they have an unexpected expense and they're like, well, the next one. Then they get it like, 6 paychecks out, but you staying top of mind throughout that process ensures that they're going to remember and they're actually going to one of these paychecks actually buy it.
Exactly.
And even with the example of like, let's say a corporate example, if it's a B2B product, people maybe have a weekly meeting with their boss and they need to bring up this thing that they want to get approval to buy. And they see an ad for it and they're like, oh, great. Yeah, I got to ask my boss if I can spend that, $4,000 or whatever. It's not a big deal, but they got to bring it up real quick in a meeting to make sure they're approved to put it on the card. And their boss is out of town for a week. And then they, so you have to have enough awareness and lead time to stay top of mind. Because if you drop off and you stop advertising during the process of making sure that that person is in the funnel, like they'll just forget about you and they'll never buy it. Well, appreciate everything you do. I know that you are just putting a lot of effort into serving your customers well and just take care of them incredibly well from a marketing perspective. I'm just blown away by everything that we've been able to do. I can't believe it.
I've been here for almost a year, so it's been a very fun year, very fast-paced year. But also, we have great clients. They're involved. They want their company to grow. They're attending our meetings. They're asking questions. They're willing to try. That's the type of clients we have here. That's why we have such good success with our marketing strategies, because it really is a two-way street in a relationship.
I think that's the other thing. Agencies can become really run and gun, where they just take on a new client, churn through them, take the money, wait till the client cancels. Eventually they'll cancel, and then they just go on to the next one. And they don't really care about optimizing for that client on a deep level. But then there's also people will come in and they'll be on their 5th agency and we'll be like, oh, don't worry, we'll be different than everyone else,
Right.
And then they don't show up to 4 meetings in a row and you're like, might have been you.
Yeah. Or you bring them 100 calls and they miss 90 and they're still saying, where's our leads? And it's like, well, you missed 90. So.
Yeah, you have to pick up the call and then you have to sell them the product. You have 5 million things to deal with that day. You got so many fires to put out. You're not calling your business and going like, what happens when I call? Do they pick up? Do they like, I mean, you're not taking the time to quality check that. And your marketing agency sometimes can act as a good check and balance for that, because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to call that phone number and be like, hi, oh, I got a, press 1 to speak to the operator and press 2 for this and press 3 for that and press 4 for that. And the actual thing that new leads have to do is option 7, and then they have to talk to this person, and then they're on hold, and then they're over here. This is a real example. This happens all the time. And I'm like, I just sent you a ton of phone calls that we spent like meetings and hours and campaigns we put together and all this work we bled to get this lead delivered to you on a platter. And now they call you and you don't have an engaging person on the other side who helps this lead that we spent so much time getting to you.
And you also do have to communicate with your team that you are running these type of ads.
Oh, yeah.
You are doing this initiative. Don't leave your team in the dark. And then all of a sudden they're wondering, why are these people calling us? Why are they asking these questions? Like, make sure everyone's on the same page. They don't need no budget. They don't need no technical details.
Totally.
But just let them know, this is what we're doing. Expect this to start happening.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I'm passionate about doing this because it helps good people to make sense of a really complicated thing and to get their message out there. I find that a lot of times there can be very like egotistical people who are very self-focused, who don't really care about their customers, and they are shouting their message from the rooftops and taking the money. Oftentimes it's these people who are really serving their clients, like, and really care on a deep level. They are not good at talking about themselves because they are not very egotistical. They are focused on serving their customers. So they need, in a lot of cases, they need a third party to come in and be like, guys, you do this incredible work. Let me help you get out there and actually compete. Yeah. And so I'm really thankful to have you on the team and really thankful for everything that you do. Yeah. You're one of those people, like when you hire a really good person, like it's, you end up in this position where you're like, it's hard for me to even imagine what Emberly would be like without you.
Well, I appreciate
that.
Like
just a year in, and I just appreciate working with you, and I'm excited about like what your level of care and quality and attentiveness and strategy and mindset does for our clients. It's crazy. It's crazy what we can offer now. So I'm really excited. Enthusiastic about that. So
likewise.
Yeah. Thanks for everything. And this was a good conversation. So.
It was. I'll see you Monday.
See you Monday.